It's a great privilege to be able to address this tremendous conference, and it's only recently that many people have begun to celebrate the tremendous accomplishments, the tremendous courage, dedication, and sacrifice of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. I mean, the tremendous courage, the tremendous dedication, the brotherhood in arms that was on display in battles like An Loc, Quang Tri, and Paracels. And as a student of the Vietnam War, I've had the opportunity to talk with a lot of American officers who served alongside the South Vietnamese Army, the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. I've had an opportunity to talk to many Vietnamese officers who served with great distinction in the war, and it developed in me a deep and abiding respect for the Army of the Republic of Vietnam and what they endured. And it really didn't hit home to me until I had the opportunity to serve alongside courageous Iraqi officers and soldiers in the context of the war in Iraq. And I now recognize the bond, the real love that developed between American officers who had the tremendous privilege of serving alongside the Army of the Republic of Vietnam and the officers of that great army. And I couldn't say it better than our Iraqi Army Division commander said it when we parted ways in Iraq in 2006. And he looked at me and he said, we have bled together and we are brothers forever. So I think it's just tremendous that in the context of this conference, this gathering, this celebration, that officers who had the privilege to serve along the brave officers and soldiers of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam have a chance to rekindle those friendships, to celebrate those bonds and what they endured together. Regrettably, as this audience will know better than anyone, many were in denial about the suffering of the Vietnamese people. Many were in denial about the brutality and the repressive agenda of the communists. And it wasn't until 1975, really, that the plight of the Vietnamese people became inescapable for many who were in denial about it, who were turning a blind eye to the abuses and the brutal and oppressive agenda of the communists. And so what we saw were huge violations, obviously, of human rights that were going on for quite a long time in Vietnam, but it now was exposed for everyone to see. And these included, obviously, murders. It included people being imprisoned, thrown out of their homes, people being marched off to re-education camps. And all observers were confronted with this horrible scene, but they were also confronted with something incredibly positive and admirable, and that was the courage, the resiliency of the Vietnamese people. And many of those Vietnamese, many of those who will be at this conference and left Vietnam at that time and came to the United States. Well over a million, as those of you gathered here today know better than anybody. And they would become the very best Americans because they were Americans who valued the freedoms we enjoyed more than anyone else. I mean, for you really to understand, I think, the freedom that we enjoy in our country, I think you have to almost understand what it is like to live without freedom, to be in the danger and under the danger of losing your freedom. And Vietnamese Americans have made tremendous contributions to our society through their entrepreneurial spirit, through their drive, through the way they relish the freedoms they have in this country. And they've also made tremendous contributions in our armed forces. I mean, I've had the great privilege of serving alongside many Vietnamese Americans in our Army, Vietnamese Americans who understand, again, better than most Americans, the value of freedom, who live every day duty, honor, and country, and who understand the rewards of their service because they want to give to others what they have been able to enjoy in our country. And I'd like to quote Captain Carlos Trondeau, who said it probably better than anybody could say it. And he said, this is an officer, Army captain, who served in Iraq. He said, we have freedom because we came here, came to the United States. If we do not contribute, then that is very selfish of us. We must sacrifice to protect the freedom for our children's future. So here is a Vietnamese American who understands the value of freedom, who understands the value of service, who understands that freedom isn't free and it takes sacrifice and it takes service. So the main sentiment that I have is, first of all, one of gratitude to be able to talk to this great gathering, to tell you how much I respect your duty, your valor, your courage, how much I am thankful for what you have done for our country as Vietnamese Americans, for our Army and for our armed forces as Vietnamese Americans, and just to, in closing, to say that you are the real strength of America. We are a country of immigrants, and the immigrants who come to America are looking for a better life for their children. They value freedom. They value the opportunity that America gives us. And there is no community that I can think of who took greater advantage of that based on their resiliency, based on the difficult experiences they had, than Vietnamese Americans. So I hope everybody has a great time in this wonderful celebration, and thanks for letting me be a small part of it.